to the show. I'm your host Gurhm, and today, what the? Okay, today I'm talking about Marvel Avengers. It was published by Square Enix and developed by Crystal Dynamics California and Washington State teams located in the US, Nixxes Studio in the Netherlands, and Eidos Montreal located in Europe. Quite a mix of developers from around the globe, yo. Whoa. Seriously, what the hell? Anyway, I just finished the single player campaign in around 15 hours on the hardest difficulty and have been dabbling in the endgame multiplayer content since. And this is gonna be a tough review, y'all. Some hearts might be broken, some fanboys might be triggered, and some dreams might even get crushed. So let's jump in and whoa! Seriously, what the actual hell? Whoa! Oh no! Yes! Finally, the enemy lair. Oh, and would you look at that? It appears I've already taken out the villain Tony said was plotting against us. Excellent! Oh, who could this be? Miss Marvel! Hey Kamala, what's up? Yeah, I'm here already, and great news! I just defeated the villain Tony said was... Yeah? Yeah, I defeated him already. Kamala, what's wrong? What? Tony had me defeat this innocent gamer just so he wouldn't say anything bad about us? No. Kamala Khan! What up, y'all? Thanks for joining me. And I'm gonna be real with you right from the top. I was actually really excited for this game. And I say that because although some of the superheroes in Avengers have been some of my all-time favorites since I was a young G reading the comics, I'm honestly not a big Avengers fan. And although I do enjoy certain looter shooters that continue to put out content far after release, I'm also not a big fan of the games as a service model. Still, I was really excited to jump in and play this with my homies. It just seemed like the perfect opportunity for a badass co-op experience, right? Hulk, Iron Man, Miss Marvel, Captain America, and all the rest side by side tearing it up together. It just sounded amazing with a ton of potential. But 2020 ain't over yet, yo, and Marvel Avengers is proof of that. Let's kick things off, starting with its gameplay. Marvel Avengers has two major aspects to its gameplay: a single-player campaign and in-game multiplayer content where you can team up with others to play through short missions like Strikes in Destiny or Strongholds in Anthem, where you grind to upgrade your heroes and increase their power levels by acquiring better gear doing so. And I'm gonna focus on the story mode for the most part, because it'll cover everything you need to know, both about the narrative-focused campaign experience and the end game content of the game. However, before we dive into the actual details of its gameplay, I gotta tell ya, this game is extremely buggy and really suffers from poor optimization. I can't speak for consoles since I'm only playing on PC, but holy hell, through the entire campaign, I had everything from crashes, insane graphical glitches, I got thrown over 3,000 meters outside a level and couldn't get back. My character froze in a corner, forcing me to restart a few times. Enemies could constantly get punched through walls, causing them to disappear, and sometimes this would lead to me not being able to get past the next objective because the game didn't consider the area clear of bad guys, which forced me to restart checkpoints over and over. I literally had to try and fight guys but not get close to a wall. It was ridiculous. Not only that, but the enemies would straight up disappear right in my face. And if they happened to be an objective-based enemy that I had to kill to progress, I'd have to restart the whole game to get it working again. And if that wasn't enough, it really doesn't run well a lot of the time. I even tried turning some of the graphics down, and I wasn't maxing the game out either, and I have a beastly rig, but that just wasn't the problem. No matter what I set shit to, I would get major frame drops, even in cutscenes and at the Avengers home base where you're simply picking up missions and teaming up with others before getting into game. I mean, there's literally nothing going on in the game in those moments. And look, normally I wouldn't make bugs the first thing I showcase when dissecting a game's gameplay. Hell, I even get a kick out of them like everyone else sometimes. Every game has bugs, but this was out of hand and even game-breaking at times to the point that it drove me crazy. And if the rest of the gameplay were stellar and optimized better, I might have been able to forgive some of this shit, but it's not. So I'm highlighting it right from the start for you guys so you know what's up beforehand. Now, the developers have started to address some stuff with a patch they recently put out, but it hardly fixes the lot of it, and honestly, they aren't getting any credit from me either way. I already finished the game like a ton of people, and this garbage should have been worked out prior to release because it really hurt the overall experience for me. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's dig into what the gameplay is actually like. It opens up to an intro sequence where you play a young Kamala Khan who's attending the Avengers A-Day celebration where they're planning to launch their new headquarters in San Francisco. And it was actually a cute little opening sequence that played out as a tutorial for some of the game's more basic mechanics. Not long after that, you get thrown right into the action where you get to try out each character and learn how to play them. And so begins what felt like a grueling 15-hour gameplay tutorial, y'all. The entire game centers around reassembling the Avengers. So as you progress through its story, you slowly convince the band to get back together. And every damn time a hero rejoins the Avengers, the game forces you to go through another tutorial. It wasn't just frustrating. It was mind-numbingly frustrating because there's nothing complicated about how to play each character. They're pretty much all the same in terms of how to play them as well, so I'm not sure why the hell they went with this approach. It does highlight another big issue I had as well though. It's obnoxiously hand-holdy. You constantly get reminder prompts that you can't turn off, icons that pop up telling you what's about to happen or what you need to do, and the mechanics in combat aren't skill-based either. For instance, grabbing onto ledges when traversing its world isn't about having good aim or timing in terms of distance. You just jump towards something, and once a keybind icon pops up, you hit that key, and the game will do all the work for you. This goes for the combat as well. Regardless of what character you're playing, it's pretty much just a button smash fest with very little combo variations. The game also likes to take control of fights by deciding who your hero is gonna attack. And I hate this shit, yo. I even tried turning off all the auto-aim nonsense in the settings, and still, my character would turn in a totally different direction to attack an enemy that wasn't even on my screen at times. And the AI is just horrifically bad. You can continuously span enemies and bosses with stun shots until they're dead, and if you AD attack from cover, reposition, and repeat, almost every single enemy significantly struggles to even land a hit on you. And despite all that, those aspects sadly weren't the biggest letdown for me. The most disappointing thing for sure was the lack of differentiated gameplay between each of the 6 heroes. Yes, they all have different animations when you're fighting, and some of those animations do look incredibly badass. But fundamentally, every character has the same buttons that you need to smash in the same combinations, which there's not many of, by the way, which made every character feel really similar. There's also no specialization or real pros and cons to playing any particular hero, which makes coordinating with a team or switching between heroes for the sake of simply having a different, unique experience not only non-essential, but really wasn't possible in my opinion. I wanted to feel like Hulk and feel like Iron Man and all the rest. But every character felt really similar in terms of actual gameplay. Sure, Thor and Iron Man are the flyers, Kamala Khan and Black Widow are the agility heroes, and Hulk and Captain America are the tanks. But to make that work gameplay-wise, you need there to be a reason for it to matter. And yes, in the multiplayer, Kamala does kind of take on the role of healer, having an ability that has an AoE heal on it. Hulk can bait and lifesteal from enemies, and Thor can stun them, and so on. But it's so subtle, yo, and never invites a level of active coordination between players that makes it both challenging and exciting. At least that's been my experience so far playing online with others. You're playing in a game with other people, yeah, but you're not really working together to succeed other than just contributing to the fight. Just imagine if in battle only aerial units could effectively get taken out by Iron Man and Thor, or if large groups of land-based enemies were way more vulnerable to Hulk, or if bosses that had certain weaknesses could be infiltrated or exposed easier by Kamala Khan. Those are just simple ideas that, if expanded on, could open the door to some really cool team-based strategies and attacks. Unfortunately, this would have taken well-crafted levels, original enemy designs, and truly unique hero abilities that were tailored for team-based fighting. Marvel Avengers doesn't have any of those though, based on my time in the game. They clearly went with a more casual route where everybody can just steam barrel into combat head first and only worry about picking up a fallen teammate every once in a while. I hate to grind on this so bad. I really wanted to love this game. But hey, it's a games as a service title, so maybe they'll get this shit worked out in a year or two. I don't think so. I'm giving gameplay 1 out of 5 stars. Graphics are up, and we're barely climbing the 5-star ladder, yo. The textures are not great, and overall, the game just doesn't look amazing for a 2020 AAA title, in my opinion. The one area I do want to give them props on in this category is with some of the character models. They just look freaking badass, and this goes for the characters in cutscenes as well. The talking and expressions were really well done. It was nice to see them get such good treatment in this department overall. Outside of that though, for the most part, all the levels looked like a slightly cartoony, dated console game with super hyped colors, and I wanted to give them props for all the post-processing effects they added in, like smoke, mist, and debris from attacks, and not to be confused with destructible environments either. Certain attacks just produced debris that would pop up and then disappear during battle, and does look pretty cool. But they way overdid it. I would have much rather had HD textures on the landscapes, more foliage, and better lighting and shadows instead of all the fancy bullshit effects they put on your screen. I'm giving graphics 2 out of 5 stars. Moving on to audio, and this was kind of a trippy category. When I was playing the game, I really didn't find any of the music memorable or particularly game boosty. I honestly couldn't tell you a single moment where it stood out or I noticed it, which is really strange because after playing the game, I picked up the soundtrack and really enjoyed the music. The only explanation I have is that the busy and frustrating gameplay must have completely overshadowed it or something. So yeah, the soundtrack is great outside of the game. The sound effects weren't particularly impressive either, but the game really had awesome voice acting. And it's heavy on story and cutscenes too, which I liked. And all the actors did a solid job, which made those cutscenes have a sense of realism by carrying an emotional tone and delivery that was really well done. I'm giving audio 3 out of 5 stars. Story's up next, and this was for sure my favorite part of the game. Is it an Avengers story? Yes, absolutely. And it comes with all your Hollywood staples like quirky jokes, cheeky ribbing between heroes, overly dramatic villains, and obnoxious fight scenes that are all wrapped up in a sweet tale of courage and hope. At the heart of this story, though, is something much cooler. It's an origin story for Kamala Khan, which might not be MCU canon, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a sweet story about how she grows into becoming Miss Marvel by challenging some of her own personal doubts, accepting who she is and what she's capable of. Now, I didn't love it and was disappointed to see some of the cutscenes stuttering at times, but the story was fun, campy, had me laughing out loud a few times, and had a really sweet ending that got me right in the feels. For real, if you're an Avengers fan, the story is at least one good reason to play the game. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars. Settings are up, and let's start with the key rebinds, which were all good. I was able to rebind everything from WSAD to ESDF and numpad, along with my normal run and melee keys set on my mouse thumb buttons with no issue. Video and graphics are up next, and let's start under display, which has all your typical video options, plus an HDR, resolution scaling, and if you're an AMD user, there's a super sampling option here for you exclusively. Under graphics, everything looks great too. You get a ton of options to tweak the game if you need to. And down at the bottom, there's a couple extra settings for Intel CPU users for enhanced water and destruction, which was cool. Moving on to audio, and you got your dialogue, sound effects, and music settings, along with a master and some mic options for talking in the game. And lastly, let's hit gameplay, which is where you can set your difficulty, change some camera settings like shake sensitivity, camera distance, target lock, and auto sensor, which were all cool to see. The only things missing here are, for one, colorblind modes, which is just disappointing as hell not to see. This is one of those AAA games that's gonna have a huge customer base, so it is ridiculous to not see those options here. And also, I wish there was a setting that would allow you to disable how your character will just decide at any given moment who it's going to attack. When you're fighting someone that you wanted to fight, I picked that enemy, I prioritized that enemy, but then the game will decide, nope, your character's gonna attack this enemy that's not even on your damn screen. I wanna turn that shit off. I don't know what target lock is, but they need to have a setting in here to address that. Overall though, the settings were good. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. It is final score time. And I really wanted to love this game, yo. I feel like the developers were handed a golden opportunity to create a game that truly shined in the diversity of its characters. Something that would have players skillfully using different builds in combination with each hero and their abilities. You know, something that felt and played like a true team-based Avengers experience. Instead, we got a surface-level, hand-holdy button smash fest that struggles performance-wise and hardly captures a unique experience when playing between each of its 6 characters. I'm giving Marvel Avengers 2 out of 5 stars. All right. With that said, I'm gonna throw out a little bone here because there is one thing that I want to say to the hardcore Avenger fans watching. There is an alright story here. If you are not a big Avengers fan, just skip this one. It ain't worth your time or money in my opinion. But if you are, the story is decent And it centers around a badass hero that hardly gets the attention or credit she deserves. And yes, I'm talking about Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. She is front and center the entire game, which was pretty damn cool. Outside of that, like I mentioned, the devs have already openly acknowledged many of the game's problems and appear to be committed to fixing them and putting out more content. All right, that's it, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me today. You could have been anywhere on YouTube, but you kicked it with me, and I appreciate it so much. Please, if you enjoy my content, I could really use your support on Patreon, even if it's for only $1 a month. Every little bit helps me out a ton, and I would love to have you part of the community. If you're new to the channel, don't forget, subscribe, and everybody please like and leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you, and I will see you on the next Gurhm's Garage. GG.